Hello, we are live tonight with Natalie Summers from Missouri or Missouri. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but we'll figure it out today, I guess.
Yeah, I'll make sure to
It's
correct you.
yeah. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and in your beekeeping past.
All right, so I'm Natalie Summers. I've been doing beekeeping for I think this is our seventh season, I believe. It's kind of hard to keep track of now, but I do it with my parents. And this year has been pretty busy and pretty crazy. But the last few years, we've done a lot of splitting and just kind of building up to where we want to go. And we've just been kind of figuring out what we're wanting to do because we're still not 100% sure on that. But I have definitely figured out that beekeeping is what I want to do, and it's definitely what I'm going to go into. So, yeah, it's been a crazy journey, but it's been a lot of fun, and I've been able to do stuff like this, which is just crazy to me. I've been doing a lot more conferences lately, which is a lot of fun, and so, yeah, that's kind of what's been going on.
Yeah. So how long exactly have you been into it?
So, I think this is our seventh season. I got started when I was 8, kind of. My dad got into it, and then it was just kind of like I decided to get into it, but then it didn't go very well. So then we got into it like the next year. I really know, but I believe it's our seventh season so far. So yeah,
So that would be 2017, the first
yes,
bit.
I believe so. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 2018 for me.
I
So
don't know.
you
I'm good
got
at
me.
beekeeping, not math.
Well, I mean, there's a fair amount of math in
There's a
beekeeping.
lot of math in it. That's why I have my dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just constantly like miscounting numbers. It is really like where I was
Yeah.
joking, but it is really important
It
sometimes. You
is.
can't mess
Yeah.
up the numbers.
Right. Yeah.
The days, the just like, counting how many queen cells you need.
Right. Yeah. Figuring out what
Just
you're gonna need for the amount of splits you made, and yeah, all of it.
yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely right. In the comments, I give Cayman a lot of hard times. That's kind of the whole point of beekeeping, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, that was the whole point of the live chat is last time we bagged up on him and
Yeah, a lot.
naturally, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was hoping to continue that trend on. We
Oh
got
yeah,
the
no, for sure, definitely.
We got the most live viewers when I was on with Cayman a few months ago at 33.
Uh,
So
nice.
I
Yeah.
figure I figure we need to make fun of him extra for that.
No, definitely. Yeah. I
It's
didn't
a
see that one. I wish I would have watched that.
yeah, he likes to talk, so
A
there's
lot.
plenty of Cayman. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, so you said it's before we got on. You said it's been a tough year. You've been really busy. You're so
Yeah.
popular now that you just can't help it but to go to so many conferences.
Right. That's it. Right. Yeah.
So the struggle is real. So how has the honey flow been this year?
So it started off with like our black locust and it was going really good and I was like this is going to be a great year. We're going to be crazy busy. We're going to have a good honey flow and then it just kind of we had a random dearth all of a sudden and then we kind of had a flow and then we didn't and then it was really confusing. So it was kind of like just making sure you had supers on because if a flow started you catch it. So it's just been kind of crazy and the flow hasn't been very good this year. Now, I told you before, I don't really know how it went because we have yet to pull our honey and we really need to. We've just been so busy. Like, we've been gone like every weekend, just out of town. Because it's hard because you want to, do stuff during the summertime, but that's when the bees are at their highest. So it's hard to kind of keep track of it. But I would say it's been an okay year so far. It's been better, but it's also been worse. So it's not like it's been awful.
Yeah, it's every year brings different challenges,
Yeah.
and you're just always figuring it out as you go.
Yeah. Yep. It's different every single year.
Yeah,
How was your honey flow?
not good either.
Yeah,
We
that's what
yeah
I've heard from a lot of people, not just here.
yeah we it was going pretty well. It was starting.
Mhm.
We had May was decent. We got like 5 inches of rain at the end of May in
Okay.
one day, or no, at the beginning of May, and then 3 inches at the end. So we weren't low on water, but it never really materialized. And we had rain every. We had the best stretches of weather were like maybe 3 to 4 days where we didn't have rain between like June 5th and like July 15th. It was just raining, 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 raining
Yeah.
all the time, all the time. Um, and so we've had a little bit of flow since it stopped raining, but
Yeah.
since we're far enough past the solstice, the
Mhm.
bees aren't really drawing comb. They don't want to draw home anymore.
Okay.
And it hasn't been a strong flow. So,
Yeah. Yeah, but not awful, at least.
uh, so last year I did 230 pounds.
Okay.
I haven't pulled honey either. I pulled on the 6th last year.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm hoping for maybe like 150 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
see,
see.
right? Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So how many yards do you have right now?
Okay, so right now we actually still only have 2. Do we need more? Yes, because they have like 60 plus hives in them, which they shouldn't. I think our home yard, I don't know how many we have there. It's way too many. We should not have that many, but we do. Because we made all of our splits there and we just never really moved them. We moved a couple of them, but then we kept making splits. And so now we have so many hives there and they need to get out. But it's honestly been kind of hard to find yards to put bees on. A lot of people will come up to you and tell you like, oh, I really want bees on my property, but it's just kind of hard to finally get to that point and then bring the bees over.
Yeah.
But I think hopefully by next year we'll have a few different yards, but right now it's only 2.
Guess what the most I have in 1 yard is?
What, like, I'm gonna guess 60?
7.
7. Hey, that's where we all started at some point. I used to, yeah, that's right.
I've got 20. I've got 20. Well, 20 hives plus like 15 nukes that
Okay.
I'm going to combine. But like just as the most that I have in 1 yard is 7 full size colonies. I got 7, 6, and then I've got 1 yard that's kind of like it's the central yard for the drone flights.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
most of my splits are there, but it's
Okay.
like 15 nukes and like 6 hives or something.
Okay. What are you hoping to get to? Like, do you want to continue to grow or do you want to just stay like,
Yeah, so I started the year with 13.
okay.
And my goal is 25 hives, 5 nukes, but not been a great year. So
Yeah.
I know I can get the 25 hives because it's only 5 more, but the 5 nukes,
Yeah.
getting like being able to have enough bees to make those up before winter, and also not having to use them on some of my larger colonies is going to be iffy at best.
Right. Yeah. Are you wanting to sell nukes or?
So I heard from a beekeeper that if you really want to grow fast, selling nukes is adverse to that goal.
Yeah.
So as far as in the future, maybe yes,
Yeah.
but I
Right.
have not in the past, and I may not next year either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was picking on my mom for this because like I'm out making all of these splits and I'm like, this is gonna be great. We're gonna have so many hives by the end of the year, and she's just selling them off because it's good money, but like I want the bees. So it's just it's hard to figure out what to do when it comes to selling nukes.
Yeah, it's always a tightrope walk.
Yeah, definitely.
Trying to balance all your goals, trying to balance the
Right.
monies.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Yes.
you just never know. It's always something.
Yes. Always.
Yeah. So what's been your biggest surprise of the 2023 beekeeping season, Natalee? I need to know.
I was thinking, I don't know about this one. I would say, I honestly would say I've been surprised from the amount of like conferences that I've been going to, which isn't super bee related, but it is.
Yeah, it is.
That and also back to like selling nukes, I would say I was very surprised by the amount of nukes that we ended up selling and the amount of people that wanted nukes from us. Because I can't remember, I don't really think we really advertised it, but a
Yeah.
lot of people were contacting us about it, and so I was surprised by that, and also the amount of people that wanted queens. A lot of people were asking for queens and still are, and we're just not like, we were never planning on really selling queens, so we weren't really prepared for that. But I was definitely surprised by the amount of queens that people wanted for sure. There hasn't been too many crazy things that have happened, like bad. I think the one thing that happened not that long, this is just like a small story. I got back from a conference a couple weeks ago, and the first thing I do is go up to check the bees because why wouldn't I? And
Obviously.
yeah, and so I'm like walking into the yard, and then there's this one hive that's on a stand. There's actually like 3 of them. They were on this stand, and I noticed they were kind of tipping a little bit before I left. But I came back and like there was like I think 3 supers on all 3 of them in like double deeps, and they had completely tipped over, and the boxes were everywhere in the yard. And I think I filmed like a short little clip and then just never got around to posting it. But that was a pretty fun surprise. I tried to put them back together and I got lit up. So I just let my dad handle that.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah, because I only have a jacket, and so I was just getting stung in the legs like crazy. So that was a fun surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I guess how many stunts I've taken this year. I wrote down every single one.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I don't know. Is it like a lot? Like common? Do you wear a full suit?
I wear a full suit, and this is even with a full
Okay.
suit.
I'm gonna say like 20,
67.
67. Okay, yeah. You know, people ask me all the time. They're like, "How many times have you been stung?" I'm
I
like,
know,
I
yeah.
don't know how many times I've been stung in the last week. Like, I don't know. It gets to the point where I don't know anymore. During the summertime, I don't get stung a whole lot, but then when it comes to like during the winter and getting closer, then I get stung a lot.
Yeah, 60,
Yeah,
67.
pretty
And
fun
so
though.
that's why I did it, is because everyone's always asked, like, do you get stung? How many times? And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I
And
don't
so I
know.
decided,
Yes.
yeah, the weirdest part
You
is my
wrote all of
last
them
thing.
down?
Yeah, I have a little notes app in my phone, or the notes app. I
Uh-huh.
just wrote down every time I got stung.
Dang. Wow, the consistency. It's crazy.
My worst day, I think, was like 10 with
Okay, yeah.
everything on. Yeah, it
Dang,
was,
how'd that
well,
happen?
so here's the beautiful intersection to get the most things possible. Be doing a bunch of queen stuff while it's raining and terrible weather.
Yep.
I
There
had
you
to
go.
pull a ton of
100%.
queens, like 20, and it also happened to be when it was awful weather, and
Yeah.
so I was just getting lit up like
Yeah.
so many times.
Yeah, that's what yeah, we always end up doing splits when it's raining because it's just that time of the year.
Yeah,
And it's horrible because you'll graft queens and then you have a date that like you have to make splits by that date because then you're gonna lose all your queens.
yeah.
So we'll like put it off and put it off and put it off so that maybe it'll like stop raining and it never stops. And so we have to make splits in the rain. And I swear that's when we get stung the most is when the weather is bad.
Oh, I mean, I think you have a lot more sting tolerance than I do. I mean, I wear gloves and everything. I still,
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I would wear a full suit because I get really tired of getting stung.
yeah,
But other times I would rather just get stung than have to deal with the heat because I can't do the heat. I'm such a
yeah.
wimp when it comes to the heat. I can't do it. I really can't.
Well, a little bit different of a temperature range.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, so I don't know. I think we've had maybe 1 or 2 days above 90 degrees this year. I mean,
Yeah,
at most. Though it has been humid like in Missouri this year.
really. See, that's what gets me too. I
Yeah.
can't do the humidity.
It's it's been really bad, and like, so I don't know, the last 2 weeks, every time I go out, I just know like my entire shirt is going to be completely sweat through
Yep.
by the time that I get back. I just
Yeah,
know
I used to
100%.
never sweat before I got into beekeeping, and now
Yeah.
it's awful.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad, but
Yeah,
as soon as it stopped raining, I've barely been stung at all in the past 2 weeks. I mean,
yeah, that
just
makes sense. Yeah.
I would be, probably in the 20s or the 30s if I hadn't been doing all the
Right.
queen stuff in the rain. It's just,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the killer.
You gotta do
But
what you gotta do sometimes.
yeah, the last thing that I took was actually from a queen.
Really?
Yes.
Dang. Was it like a virgin?
No, it was a mated queen.
Really?
So I mentor some beekeepers in my town,
Mhm.
and I was we were combining a nuke with a laying worker hive, and we were moving the nuke, basically dropping it into the laying worker hive.
Yeah.
And we're past the season where it makes any sense to, rear any more queens. So I just didn't want to take the risk of her potentially being killed
Yeah.
in introduction. And so I left her. I took her up to my car and I caught her
Mhm.
because they were really mad. So they would have
Yeah.
stung me if I took off my gloves. So
Yeah.
I got up to the car, and man, this queen was just running up my suit, just like like not quite flying, but like using her
Yeah.
wings and eating and just running up my suit. When I
Uh,
was in the car, I kept trying to grab her and grab her and grab her.
yeah.
One of the times, she just pops me on the edge of my
Really?
hand, and so
Dang.
typically it takes like thousands of stings or thousands of queens handled before you get stung by one. But
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
just the lucky guy that got stung around 100.
Right. There's some crazy queen stories because sometimes when they get out of those cages, they just want to run around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta watch them.
right into the tree.
Somebody asked what happens when a queen stings.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my brother.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh yeah, my last name.
yeah.
Brown.
Um, so what happens basically is the stinger is only used for killing other queens, and so it's different than a normal bee, and so they don't lose it and then die. They just kind of sting and then keep walking around like nothing happened. So not a whole lot. It's not very eventful
Yeah,
for the queen.
right.
Yeah. 114 in
That's
South Louisiana.
crazy. I literally
Heat
would not
index.
go outside. That's awful.
What is it like in Missouri right now?
Right now it's like 90s and like so humid. It feels awful, but it's probably not as bad as it actually is because I'm just like that.
Why do you think you're such a wimp in the heat,
I
Natalee?
don't even know. I just can't function when it gets hot. I love the cold, but I love beekeeping enough to suffer through the heat.
I understand it. I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Nick Pesh, does getting stung make you not want to keep bees? As Natalee said, it's worth
It's
it.
worth it. The heat is worth it. The stings are worth it. The awful days and everything, it just makes it all better. It's one of those things where like you either enjoy it or you absolutely hate it, and you know when if you like it the second you get into a hive. So it's just I don't even know. Sometimes I'll get stung like 10 different times and I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I
Why am
doing
I
this?
here? Yeah.
Right, but that's only on the bad days when I don't actually want to be there in the yard. So this doesn't
Yeah.
happen very often.
Do you notice that like some stings, I want to sit there and scream for a minute, and then some stings, I'm like, barely felt it.
Yeah, I think it just depends on where you got stung and how good they got you. Like sometimes
I
I'll be like,
know.
is that a stinger? And then I look down and it is, and it's just not fully in the skin. So I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Usually like getting stung anywhere along here, I just want to like pass out. Like I can't, I hate it right there. But like in the legs or in the hands, it's fine. It just depends.
Yeah. It's weird for me. Even like I could be stung in the exact same spot, and one of them's just awful,
Really?
and the other
Yeah.
one's just really normal and just not a big deal. Like one of them, like I was taking off my bee suit a few weeks ago, and I just grab a bee as I was taking it off, and I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like I just hurt so bad.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugh.
Somebody just
Yeah.
said under the fingernail them hurts. They do.
Yeah.
That has got to be the worst spot. One time it happened to me while I was in somebody else's bee yard, like helping them, and I got it under the fingernail, and I tried so hard not to like walk away and just start crying because it hurt
Yeah.
so bad, but I'm not about to do that.
Oh
And
yeah.
sometimes I think it just like also depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm really
Yeah.
focused and like have a lot going through my head or I'm in the middle of a video, they don't tend to hurt as bad. And I think it's because I'm not focused on the pain. But
Yeah.
like if I'm
For
just
sure.
sitting there and then get stung, then I'm gonna think it's awful because I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. It
I
is
don't
kind of a mind
know, a
over
little
matter
bit.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a
It's
little bit.
just what you're focusing on. My favorite story when I actually did start crying, I was with Gus Mitchell and
Really?
in Arkansas,
Okay, cool.
and it was like April 14th or something this year. I
Uh-huh.
got to go down there over April break, and
That's cool.
I'm feeling invincible. The
Yeah.
bees just clouds around me because it's like 7:15 a.m.
Uh-huh.
So incredibly angry because none of them have started flying yet. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I haven't been stung. I feel awesome. Oh, doing amazing. And then
And then yep.
my veil just touches
Yeah.
touches my face for just a second.
Just a
Pop.
second and that'll get you. Yep.
And
Yep.
then and then like and then like I can't touch my face again to like wipe the
Yeah.
stinger or
Because
do
then
anything because then I just get stung again and
stung
again and
again
again.
and again. Yeah, right, right.
And so I'm like trying to keep my eyes open as like just like start to water and cry as like I'm trying to like not trip and
Yeah.
fall as I'm like carrying a box of bees. And he's like, "They get you?" I'm like,
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And
that's the worst in the face. I got stung under the
mm,
eye, and those are just awful.
the crazy part about this year is I was stung like 3 out of my first 7 stings were on the face this year.
Oh, geez. I don't think I've been stung in the face once this year. I don't know how because they get in my veil like every single time, but I just pull them out. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, DC, I feel you on this. Like when you are not expecting to be stung, like sometimes I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen, and then you get stung and you're ready for it. But when
Yeah,
you're just not expecting it and like not to
yeah.
drop the frame or like knock a box or something.
That's the worst when you're holding something and get stung. There's nothing you can do about it. Like you're
Yeah.
holding the super, you're not gonna just throw it on the ground just to get the stinger out. Like you have to
Yeah.
finish whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
I also hate it whenever I'll get stung. Like I'll grab a frame and then I'll get stung on like the fingertip, and then I continue to grab frames because it's so sore.
Yeah.
Just all of it. I don't know, but it's worth it, right?
Hey, we already decided that. That ship has
Yeah,
sailed.
right.
Yeah. Um, bees will humble you very
For
quickly.
sure, because you'll
Oh yeah.
think there's so many different things that I could say, but like you'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is definitely it. They'll love this. It's gonna be great, and then they'll tear it up and like get rid of it, or like it'll go awful. They'll definitely humble you for sure.
Oh god. Oh man.
It's
It's
crazy.
just it's the struggle is real. The
It is.
bees. It's like any other agriculture. Like my grandparents have a farm, and
Mhm.
you're at the bees' mercy. You're at the weather's mercy. You're
Yeah.
just trying to do anything and everything you can to make it go the way you want to,
Right.
no matter how much inevitably ends up badly.
Yeah.
Man, it's been an interesting year.
It
Um,
has.
yeah, my queens haven't been going great, but how many rounds of grafting did you do?
So I kind of thought about it, and we really haven't done very much grafting. I feel like we did more last year than we did this year, but I think it was only like 5 to 6 rounds, and I think those were like
Yeah,
30, maybe 30 queens on each. I think so. Um, so it hasn't been a whole lot. I think we kind of talked about doing it again, but I don't really know. It's just
yeah.
been a crazy year. So
Have you grafted in August before?
have we? I don't. I feel like we did one year. Maybe not. I don't think so. Actually, I really don't think we did.
It's interesting
We're,
because yeah, go ahead.
we're just like we'll be like, oh wait, we need queens right now. Let's graft. It's not really like anything set. It's just like okay, we need queens. Go graft really quick. So
Yeah. Well, at least you're a master grafter, you know.
right, right.
Um, 30 for 30. I heard Natalee. So when you were grafting this year, so you did some 2 day old cells, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How did you notice any differences between those and the normal?
They're harder. They're definitely harder to do. I would say because like when you're pulling off, like you have the bar and you're pulling them off,
Hmm.
the cups off, and they're like fully developed, ready to go. Those are easy to pull off, no big deal. But when you're doing the 2 day, the wax is so delicate. Like you just push it a little bit and it just like goes right in. And so they're a lot harder to do, I would say. But I didn't really notice a difference. I honestly think that they did about the same. We didn't do enough to be able to like put it all together, decide, know what the numbers were and like which one did better. But I would say for
Mm.
the most part they look to be about the same. Most of them, like the queens, are fine. They did just as good. But yeah, I think they're just a little bit harder to do. But if you're wanting to, like, you need to do 2 day cells, then it's something that I would recommend for sure because it can help out a lot, especially if you're wanting to like instantly graft again. Then yeah, but I would also say like sometimes they'll build it out a little bit like for the 2 day cells, and then
Yeah,
after like 2 days they might tear it down again. So you
yeah,
don't
just
know
like
100% if that one's gonna work or not.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean they work. They're just a little bit harder to do.
they're harder because you have to pull them off the bar without destroying them. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
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 And so overall, the grafting went pretty well, as
Yeah, I
seamlessly as
think
it could.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
And you got 29s and or better. Like I,
Right.
I heard you're like, dang, I only got 29 out of 30, and I'm like, Natalee,
No,
really?
I don't mean to like say it like that because like you have to know that before I was getting, like 2 out of 15. So like
Yeah,
obviously I've come a long way from them, but I
yeah,
have no idea how I did 30 out of 30 the first round of the year. I did that and then I don't think I ever did it again after that. Like I at least missed one or two. But it's weird because you would think that I would progress and get better throughout the year, but I tend to get worse. So I think I get confident and then I'm like, oh, I can do this. And then it just doesn't go well. So,
correlation does not mean causation, though.
right.
Just because it's a later and later time, there's so many factors with cell building
Yeah.
that I don't think it's necessarily that you're getting worse. It's just possibly the conditions for cells
Right.
to be made aren't as good.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like the
It,
hive itself, if they're not
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Did you use the Courtney method all the time? All of
I
your
did this
grafting
year
rounds this year?
actually. We used the I don't know what if he's naming it or anything, but yeah, that's the method that we used each one. I think we only made a starter twice and we used
Yeah.
them. So yeah, so that would have been 6 times if we did them 3 rounds on
Yeah.
each. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain to make a normal starter.
Yeah, I
I
know.
can vouch.
When we used to make the normal starters and then switch to doing it the Corey Stevens way,
Yeah.
I was like, this is so much easier because you just find a hive that, is ready to swarm. And they're like, oh, here's my starter, good to go.
Yeah.
Instead of, taking frames from this hive and that hive, making sure the queen's not on it, shaking
Spending
bees.
6 hours doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It only takes 30 minutes or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend to do it that way.
Yeah. I couldn't really pull it off with 13 hives, but I had good takes this year. I did
That's
like
good.
my first graft, I got 57 out of 59.
Okay. Yeah.
My second graft, I got like 50 out of 60.
That's
And my
good.
third graft, like 52.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was much, it's definitely by far the best I've ever done,
Yeah.
especially on so many cells.
What time of the year did you do that?
My first graft was on the 15th of May. My second graft, I graft every 20 days.
Okay. Yeah.
So like the 5th of June and then like the 20th, and then it was the 1st of July.
Okay. Cool.
So I try not to push the season like Corey says, but I was talking to a beekeeper from northern Maine. So Maine, cold, northern Maine, way colder.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
It's like he's probably an hour or two from the Canadian border.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
and he's like, I don't have any trouble grafting into August when we're in dearth because he does the normal kind of cell builder way that Brother
Yeah.
Adam started, shaking a bunch of bees. Michael Palmer does it too. And so he says that as long as I feed him enough, they do fine, and he's able to graft well into August. But he
Yeah.
says, even though I get the same takes, I get like 50% of the queens because of the dragonflies.
Wow. Yep. Yep. They're so bad here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just once you get into the later part of the summer.
Yeah. Like right now, it's awesome.
Yeah. Like right now. Yeah.
Right now, we have a pond that is like it's a mess right now. But I just walked up there and you could just see all of these dragonflies. Like they're awful, and then you can see all these bees coming in and just it's sad, but
not ideal. Not
right.
ideal. But yeah, he was talking about that, and so I just stopped grafting on like the 1st of July. But I had a big oopsie with the grafting on my third round. Like 40 of my cells got destroyed. I think I'm pretty sure a virgin hatched, and
Yeah.
bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly. We did that. I don't know how many times we've done that at this point. Something happened, and I went through one of the starters, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they're good to go." And then all of a sudden, there's a laying queen; they're all dead. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's tough. That was one of those days where I was just like, "What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I?
You
Why
really
am I?"
question it some days.
Yeah. But it's time goes on, and you have to move on.
Right. So somebody just said that that one.
Yeah.
That's a really good take, and that's like really cool. And thanks for using the way that I mentioned it in the video. I know Corey has a video on it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I think his head got cut off and part of it and all of that. But there's good information, so it's worth watching for sure. But yeah,
He doesn't have Dawn, so.
Right. I'm lucky to have her.
Yeah, your manager does pretty well.
She does pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
I guess. Wow.
I guess.
That's fired. Second year of grafting, about a 50% take. Next year I'll be 29 out of 30. That's right, Roy. You'll get there.
Yeah, for sure.
My first 2 years, down the toilet, just not good numbers. Yeah. 2021, 2022, not good. And then bang, I just started with a 57 out of 59, just like that.
It's just kind of all of a sudden, and there's just so many things that it just depends.
So many factors.
Like, it's not always you, like you said. So
yeah,
it all depends for sure.
Yep, it's interesting. So you have like, you said 60 hives at your house right now?
I think we have like 60, but out of all, I think we have around 100.
So yeah, roughly how many hives do you have?
Roughly around 100.
But you don't just go out and check every day?
No.
What?
I wish. I mean, I just don't have time to do that. It's just because like we have some nukes and some full hives, so it's just like roughly I would say around 100 because I don't know fully right now. We were like, I swear I was in them every single day, and then we kind of went to this point where we weren't in them at all. So now I'm a little iffy on that, but I think it's around 100.
Yeah. So how many did you come into the season with?
How many did we come into the season with? I have no idea.
Probably 60, 65.
You would say 60? Okay. My mom's saying about 60, 65, which I was going to say that. I was going to say like 70. So I would say about 60. We were hoping to double, and we've said that the last like 3 years, so maybe we'll double next year, but probably not. So
Probably not. Well, I mean, you'll be at too many conferences speaking, so.
Right. Yeah, that can kind of make it tricky sometimes just because you plan to do all these things with your bees, but then you're going out of town. But
Yeah.
so speaking of conferences, I saw you were recently at a conference, the EAS conference.
Yep. Yes.
How was that?
It was good. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot smaller than Hive Life was in January.
Right.
It's just
I
kind of,
talk about that to people. Hive Life is a very high expectation.
yeah, it is.
It's not like most conferences. So
The energy, just like
the energy at Hive Life was just crazy, but this year
it was good though. I got to meet one of my favorite New England beekeepers. He's from Western Mass. He's got like 100,000 followers on YouTube. I've been watching him since I started in 2018, so that's pretty cool. And I met up with my buddy Mike Zatek. I call him the Swamp Yankee.
Okay.
He keeps his bees in bogs in southeastern Mass near Cape Cod.
Okay, cool.
So that was pretty interesting. And then we went to Billy C's, which is it's New England apiaries, and so they have about 3,200 colonies.
Okay, cool. Wow.
And he just did a presentation of how he got there, and then they showed us their comb honey, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then their extracting setup, which I thought was moderately interesting, but I've already seen, Ian's and all the ones look pretty similar. With the chain on capper and the big, it's like not a tunnel, but it's like a big drum extractor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The one that you like spin to start it.
Right. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. I was just glad I got to meet people and, see what it's like there. I tried to track down David Burns so I could get him for a live chat, but next time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They're all so crazy though. Like Hive Life is just crazy, but then every other conference, I swear, there's just so much to do because you don't see those people often, and so when you can finally see them, you can talk for hours. So I literally love going to conferences though. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Nat, how did the comb honey turn out this year?
I was just about to ask you, would you ever consider doing comb honey?
I was going to do it, but I'm glad I didn't attempt it because our flows were just crap. It would not have worked.
Right. So I would say, honestly, last year I feel like it did a little bit better. This year it was interesting to see which hives wanted to build comb. So you'll find a hive that just wants to build it like crazy, and you're like, okay, this is set for comb honey. And then you'll find other hives that don't want to, and you're like, okay, we're going to only give them, drawn comb. And so, figuring out which hives wanted to do it was kind of difficult. I think it did okay. I don't know exactly. Comb honey is just difficult because you want it to look nice, but you're not the one making it look a certain way, so it's hard to kind of get the bees to make it look right because, they want to build stuff the way they want to build it, and so it's kind of hard. But I would say it went okay so far this year. Exactly don't know because we haven't pulled the honey, but I've checked it a lot and it looks good so far. But like it's one of those things like you can't use it unless they've built out the whole thing.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
But I love the way that we're doing it, and I think the way like the method that we're using is working really well. It's just counting on the bees to build out the comb. So
yeah, not exactly a guarantee.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I really do think some years are better than others when it comes to for sure.
Well, I mean, for anything really.
Right.
But,
yeah, definitely.
So here's a question from my brother. What is comb honey? Basically, you give the bees very thin foundation or none without wires in it, and they draw out the comb completely and they cap it, and then you pull the frames out and you cut the comb out of the frame, and then you sell it in like a little plastic container, maybe this big. We bought it, or they were selling it for $14 in Massachusetts. Okay. So it's just like kind of a specialty product, and it's very hard to make. very precise. You don't want it on the hives a long time because they walk all over it.
Yeah, right. It's
Yeah,
hard, but it can be really worth it. A lot
yeah.
of people like it too. I've noticed it to be a lot more popular lately. Like I thought in the beginning it really wasn't, but I feel like now it's super popular and more people are wanting it. So, yeah.
Did you ever get to using the creamer or the flavorer?
So we have a creamer that we're using.
Yeah.
I don't know like a whole lot about it right now just because we haven't really tested out a whole lot and we've got a few new equipment pieces that we really haven't checked out this year. So, we're still figuring it out, but yeah, we haven't used it really a whole lot. I think we used the creamer once. I'm not sure how that went, honestly. So we're using the 4x4s. I think. Oh yeah. Sorry. No, we're using the 2x4, but we're also gonna try out the 4x4, I believe, because we have the comb cutter for that. And I was actually supposed to make a video on that like a month ago. Just has not happened yet, but I will make a video on it soon. But yeah, right now we're using the 2x4s, which is just like the little container.
Yeah, 2x4s. I was wondering. At first I thought he was saying boxes, but that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So, when are you gonna go hang out with Bob Binney and check out the whole sourwood harvest?
That is a great question. We have been talking to Bob about it for the last like 2 years, going out to see him, and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
He actually came down here or for a conference and ended up
Yeah.
checking out our yards and everything, and that was a lot of fun. We have yet to make the trip down to where he's at, so hopefully we will try it. But
Yeah.
I thought the sourwood honey wasn't good.
Sourwood honey? No, it's his premium product. So like he was saying, all the honey is in the barrel. Like wildflower honey is worth about $270 in the barrel. Sourwood's worth like $750, is what he said.
Okay, there's another one that he has that he was talking about.
It's Mountain Laurel.
Okay, yeah,
Laurel.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get any Mountain Laurel?
What?
Do you get any Mountain Laurel?
No, I don't believe so.
No. Yeah, we're just boring beekeepers that don't have any, bad honeys.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said the locust flow is really good this year, though?
The black locust was pretty good, and it's been really iffy like the last 5 years. Like a couple years ago, we would have never really thought about the black locust, but now, or at least I wouldn't have. But now it's like, honestly, we count on it a little bit because it does really well lately. Like the last few years, it's been doing pretty good. So, yeah, it was good this year.
Well, black locust I think is really, really easily affected by rain and wind, I believe.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's probably why.
Yeah, definitely. But when it is good, I love black locust honey. Like it's the best thing that we make, at least I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird because I never noticed black locust trees around where I live,
Mm-hmm.
but I looked it up and they're severely invasive. And literally, once I saw the first one and I saw the flowers on them in May, I'm just like, they are literally everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. I used to think
couldn't even believe it.
Black locust. I don't know, but now I'm like, that's literally like the whole yard is a black locust tree for sure.
Yeah.
Like we have some in our neighborhood that are just like the whole yard is that. So yeah, you will think like, oh, I don't have any, and then you look at it like, wait, I have so many.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Happened to me.
When we're in Western Massachusetts on Thursday, my mom's like, "You're obsessed," because I kept just being like, "That's a locust tree. That's a locust tree. That's a locust tree."
Once you start learning it, you just want to point out everything.
Yeah.
Like, the people around me are totally like, "Are you kidding me? This again?"
Well, that's just how my whole family is about the whole bee thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet your sisters enjoy.
Oh, they just love it. I don't even talk about it in front of some of like Gracie. She just doesn't want to hear about it.
Does she just shut you down instantly?
Sometimes. Depends on what it is.
Yeah. My little brother just instantly. He's like, "Nope, I'm not listening. Shut up. Be quiet."
Yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. If they don't understand what I'm talking about, they don't want to listen to it. So.
Yeah.
But it's nice because my parents understand that, so we'll just have like a conversation for hours. So.
Yeah. Sometimes I get home and I'm just like so excited and like just can't wait to talk about it and just pumped.
Yeah, like I'll go, in a bee yard for like hours just alone, and then by the time I come back, I want to like say everything to my mom.
Yeah.
Like so much happens in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. So he said, "My honey is a deeper amber color. What is everybody seeing?" Put it in the comments. I'll highlight a few of them. And you haven't harvested any honey yet, like zero?
Okay, we did harvest a little bit, and it is like clear. So.
The black locust, right?
Yeah. So I don't know, but usually throughout the year it starts to get darker. So we'll see.
Mm.
But it's
Yeah.
different every single year. Some years it's like really dark, others it's really light. So you just never know.
Yeah. I should have uploaded this picture, but I hadn't thought of it.
Mhm.
I have a beekeeping friend. She's like about 70. She lives 8 minutes down the road from me.
Yeah.
And this was 2021. We both harvested around the same time, and I
Mhm.
put the jars next to each other. And one of them tasted kind of like Cheerios. Hers was like a little bit
Okay.
darker and tasted like Cheerios, and mine was
Yeah.
like a little bit lighter and was like a really floral, strong flavor,
Yeah.
which is typically what I get. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I get some of
Right.
it every year.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's literally 8 minutes down the road. It's probably like
It's
3 to
crazy.
4 miles.
Yeah, I'm convinced that this year's honey is like just tastes like cinnamon. Like
Really?
I tried it, yeah, from someone else that tried their honey, and like I was convinced that they had added cinnamon to it, but they didn't. It just that's how it tastes this year, and I think it's really good. So, but yeah, it's crazy. Like we had somebody send us some honey, and it was like, a couple months of honey, and then like the next couple months their honey then, and it was like two completely different colors. So it's really cool to see. But yeah, it's
It
crazy.
is. It is for sure. Yeah, I just wish I could separately extract more,
Yeah. Yes.
That's always what I hope.
Right.
So I think you do have basswood trees. Is that right?
Hey, do we have basswood
Yes.
trees? Yes.
Yes.
We do. I'm so bad. I think I mentioned this last time we did a live. I don't remember that when that was, but I'm
Plants?
so bad about remembering what things
Oh.
are. Like I usually am just like, hey, I don't know what this is. What is it? And then my mom will tell me because she's good with that stuff. But yes, we do have basswood trees.
And then you just ask her over and over and over
Right.
and over.
Yeah. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
that? What's that? So maybe someday I'll learn.
Yeah.
It took me like 3 years to figure out black locust, but we got there. So
Well, they're pretty distinct, the leaves.
yeah.
That's the thing that I noticed the most.
Yeah.
Do you have any knotweed down there in Missouri?
Do we?
You have knotweed, Chris?
No.
No?
We do not.
So yeah, we get a lot of it here in Maine.
Okay.
I don't have any like right in my town,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna have it start a yard in the town over. It's about 15 minutes from my house, so it's
Yeah.
still pretty close. And there's just like that whole part of West Bath, Maine. It's just full to the brim with just knotweed everywhere. It's just
Really?
starting. It's just starting to bloom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Corey talks about it. Apparently, it's one of his favorite honeys. So hopefully, I'll be able to make him
Okay.
some. Bring
Yeah.
him some knotweed honey. It's
Yeah,
really
that'd be
red
cool.
and dark.
Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Dawn, that would be a good trip for when Nat gets her permit or license. She could drive in Ian's 5500 truck.
Hey, I already got my permit. I could totally drive all the way down there.
How long did it take you after you were 15 to get your permit? Did you get it right away?
I got it right away. I think they're only open on Wednesdays, and my birthday was like on a Wednesday, so I had to wait the next week. But yeah, I got it right away. But
Wait, so you just like picked up your permit?
what? No, I went and took the test.
Oh, okay.
Is that what
Okay,
you're talking
that makes
about?
more sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like-
No, I went and took it, and then I got it, and then yeah. But I don't know about that. I don't know about driving the truck. I mean, I would definitely try it. I'm just saying.
Come on.
Who knows what'll happen?
So yeah, it took me much longer to get my permit. It took me, I was almost 16. I was like 2 months from being 16 anyway, but I have my license now. And I got my permit when I was 15 and 10 months or something.
Okay.
And then I got my license like 8 months later or something. I did so in Maine, we're supposed to get 70 driving hours. And so instantly I got him in 6 months put in.
Yeah.
And then it's a long story short, but my first 2 tests, I didn't fail, but I didn't even drive. Like I failed, but I didn't even drive. It's not a story I can tell later after the live chat.
That later, because.
So Chris Medeiros asks, who's the person y'all most want to meet at NAHEB? Yeah, I think I said it right.
I know. I still can't figure out the name.
I just call it the Bee Expo.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So Natalee, you first. Come on.
I don't even know. I would say Ian, but I got to meet him last year, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I still want to meet Jamie Ellis, but I'm scared that if I meet him, I'm just gonna shut down and not say a single word. That's definitely what's gonna happen. But it'd be so cool to meet him just because I'm taking his master beekeeping course.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool. What about you?
It's a good question. I was thinking you were going to say Cayman because you can make more short jokes because I'm assuming you're more tall than him now.
taller than him. He's still convinced
I
we
know.
aren't. But I live no.
I saw the pictures, but I'm just saying, if you're still growing, then you can brag even more. You know,
Right,
You get what
right.
I mean?
I don't want
Yeah.
to see Cayman. Why do I want to see Cayman?
So you can brag to him, obviously, that he's
I can
well,
do that
mostly
right
just make fun of him.
Right.
That's true. I
Yeah.
wish he was on here. It'd be more fun to make fun of him.
Yeah,
But
it would though.
alas, someday. Now, who's my favorite person I'm most excited to meet? I met a lot of people last year. So I don't know if I can pick one person.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it'll be really interesting. I know Cameron Jack will be there, and I'll be volunteering
Yeah.
this year
That will be super
with you
cool.
guys. So I think, yeah, Cameron Jack. I think
Yeah.
that'd be my pick.
That's a good pick for sure.
Um,
What?
remind me never to ride with y'all.
I would say I'm pretty good. I drove all the way to Quincy and I did good. So
Natalee, I have my doubts. Let's put it that way.
you do?
Yeah.
Why?
Any teenage driver that says they're really good at driving is a big red flag. It's a huge red
Look
flag.
at my mom's comment. He said I'm good at driving, so
Okay, but that's your mom trying to hype you up. My mom also hypes me up.
I don't even know. I don't really care, honestly.
Yeah,
If
I mean,
drive, I
as
can
long as you
drive.
don't get in a as long as you don't get in a car crash, you'll be fine.
We'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah. See, some people believe me.
Yeah, I'm not as gullible. That's just saying. Anyway, so back to the bees.
Right. Yeah.
So you love queen rearing. Is that your favorite part of beekeeping?
It was if you would have asked me that like a couple months ago. But now I have no idea what my favorite part is. Like I honestly don't.
Conferences?
Maybe. Those ones get me pretty worked up though, so I'm always super nervous.
Well, when you're a speaker, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Natalee.
It does. Yeah.
No pressure.
Right. No, honestly, I literally would have hated, like, I would never say this, but right now, I'm really liking splits. Like, I enjoy making splits now. But if you would have asked me a year ago, I definitely wouldn't have said making splits because I used to absolutely hate it. But now that we've kind of changed our method and have figured out how it works for us, I honestly enjoy it. Like, I enjoy the part of, like, growing the hive and adding to it and putting the queens in. But I definitely love queen rearing still. Like, that's still a pretty big thing that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I used to say swarm catching, but now I'm so tired of that because we do it so much. So
maybe you should be in your bees more, Natalee.
Maybe.
Fun fact: I still haven't lost a swarm.
Though. What?
I still haven't lost a swarm yet.
Really? I'm honestly convinced we haven't lost any from our hives, but we have to have because we always have them in our yard.
Yeah.
So, like we'll find a swarm in the yard and then we'll go through every hive and I'm like, there's no hives that look like they've swarmed.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I had one of those weird stories. I was out in another town helping one of my people I mentor, and we went through both hives that could have we went through all the hives, and all three had eggs in them. And like the queen goes on the workout diet so she can leave. So I was just like, what in the world? This doesn't make any sense at all. I just sometimes you're just like, there's no words. There's no words to describe it.
Yeah. I'm not laughing at you. There's something going on behind the camera that somebody's.
Don't worry. I'd be fine if you're laughing at me. I'd understand.
I'm not. I promise.
I don't worry about it too much at this point. Brian, checking in with us.
Hey, I haven't talked to Brian in a while. I haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
It was West Virginia, actually.
Honey in the Hills.
Yep. That one.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet Brian. I didn't meet him last time, so
yeah.
I have not met him yet.
Yeah.
I know he's the tech man.
He is. Yeah, I actually contacted him for doing the live chat one time on, what's this called? StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Yeah, it's very helpful, but it was hard to figure out at first.
Yeah, I figured it out over time. Eventually, I'm gonna get the paid subscription, but
right.
One step at a time. One step at a time. Roy saying he lost his first swarm 2 days ago after 4 years. That's tough. That's tough, Roy.
It's got to happen at some point, though.
Yeah. Chris and Brian having fun here. You outdid yourself, Brian. Sorry, it's way too funny. Santa Claus beekeeping here. Not sure what that means. Do you get it?
Nope.
I'm gonna go with it.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta
Alright.
move on.
So I know that so with the splits, you've hated it in the past, but it still rains during splitting season. So
Yeah.
it's just the method that makes the difference.
There's still stuff going on behind the laptop that you don't know about.
Someone dancing or
Yes. Gosh. You gotta stop that. Anyways, I'm so sorry. What was the question?
so you don't hate splitting anymore.
Right.
Even though it still rains, and I'm assuming you still get stung a fair amount.
Yeah.
It's just the method that fixed everything. Does Bob just have too much genius, you know?
I think so. Like that is the answer to all the questions. I honestly think so. It was hard the last few years because we just like there's three of us trying to make splits and we all have a different mindset. And so that's three different ideas that are happening and you're trying to all do it together. And so it wasn't very easy because we would have people, me and my dad are usually the ones who are like in the hives making the splits. My mom's, getting equipment ready, doing all of that, which is very important also. And so it was just we all didn't have the same idea. And so it was just really difficult. But now that we have a method and we know what we're doing, we're all able to kind of go our separate ways and make the splits and do it alone. And it goes a lot better. And I love beekeeping and doing stuff alone. And so I think it just goes better now. But before it was like just confusing because we didn't know, which hive needed like what, like this one would need like a frame of brood, but this one would need food, or that needs this and that. And so it was just like you never knew what was going on. And when you have three people making splits, there's like so much happening. But I honestly think the weather makes it worse also. Like whenever it was raining, that was just awful. But this year was actually pretty good. We really didn't have to work bees a whole lot in the rain. But there was every now and then where it would just start pouring rain, and I'm like, I'm in 3 hives right now. How am I supposed to do this? But I honestly do think it was the method that changed everything. It's just crazy, but it really did.
That's something, I guess,
Yeah.
Great. Crazier things have happened, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is your plan in your mind make as many splits as humanly possible? Is that your dad?
I think that's my dad. I'm a little bit more like, are we leaving enough for them though? Like, I don't want to take too much.
Yeah.
But I've kind of switched a little bit. Like now I'm kind of like, yeah, we got to make as many as we can because I want like 1,000 hives. So like we got to make as many as we can. But like he's definitely more like, well, let's split these down to like 3 nukes. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you sure we should do that? So yeah.
Is your mom the calming force in the room?
She's I don't know. She doesn't really want to split them down very much either. Like she's concerned that we're not leaving enough, but she's usually a little bit more of the, how do I say this without being mean? She's over there, so I can't say a thing. Usually it's kind of like, hey, can you grab this? And she'll go grab it. So she's usually the one getting equipment ready, stuff like that. But
yeah. It's always a challenge in different ways.
Yes, definitely.
Yep. So we're at 53 minutes here. We'll go a little bit longer. There's some
all right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Interesting stuff going on in the chat. So Brian is treating. He is doing 6 rounds of OAB. Nathan does the same thing.
Yeah.
And he's sending out a box to Russell. And apparently your mom just wants to sell more bees.
Yeah, I told you about that earlier. She just wants to sell bees. And I'm like, no, we got to keep them. Like, I want these.
Is that because she wants to moderate the numbers or just because she likes the boom boom?
I'm pretty sure it is the cash for sure.
The cash, yeah.
But I don't know if this is her plan or what. I know she doesn't want to have a ton of hives, so maybe this is her way of getting rid of them. I don't know.
I don't know. Mom's always got a master plan, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they do, but they just don't say anything, so you never know.
Show me the money. All right.
Yes,
well, that answers that question.
It does.
It's yeah, I sold 29 queens this year. I think between queens and cells, I did like $923 or something.
That's good.
I've sold like 1,000 in honey so far.
Nice.
But it's just everything's always changing, and you're just always changing your plan.
Yep.
Did you sell any queens?
We did. I don't know how many we sold because it was kind of a random number, and it was randomly like, oh, can we, get some queens? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I don't really know. It was not the most ideal way to sell queens because we would like all of a sudden be like, okay, what has a queen right now that we can sell? And so it's like going through and finding the queen, like that I didn't know which hives were queenless and what wasn't. But we sold a few actually. We sold more than I thought we would. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not good at estimating either, but we sold a pretty good amount, honestly.
Yeah.
More than I thought we would have, for sure.
They want that special Natalee grafted queen,
Right. Yeah.
worth premium dollar.
Right.
Do you make more money selling bees or honey?
I would say bees for sure. I also think it's easier selling bees than honey. Maybe it's not, but to us, it's a little bit easier because we can't just make that honey back immediately. But getting those bees back is a lot easier for us. Like we can make a split super quickly and then sell it and it goes well. But like when it comes to honey, that takes more time. And same thing, I think we do make more money when it comes to selling bees though. But it all just depends because like if you're selling your honey in big amounts, then maybe you're going to sell more than what you would sell your bees. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah. So you're saying that per the effort, you probably make more money selling bees, but overall you make more honey, so you sell more money in honey.
Yeah. There you go. Thanks for easier.
I got what you meant.
Yeah.
You made sense, I promise.
Okay.
You sold 31 nukes?
31.
Is that the number?
I guess so. I don't know. I guess that's pretty good, right?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Sure.
I'm impressed. I think, Nat, if you want 1,000 hives, you might want to learn how to drive to get struck. Would your school be okay with that? I think she's homeschooled, but could be wrong.
I am homeschooled, so I don't know if my school would be okay with it because that would mean my mom's involved. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would ever want 1,000 hives, but definitely a few hundred.
1 million?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. A few hundred. So yeah, you think your family could do a few hundred, right? Yeah. I mean, it all depends on how you manage them. Like there's some people that take care of 500 hives, one person. Like if you have the right equipment, you can. Well, it's just about budgeting your time. Like you're going to lose 20% more swarms, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right. This year was a little bit more. I enjoyed it, but this year was a little bit more on me just because like my parents are so busy right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really used to that, but it's been a lot of just me doing it. But it's been fun. So it's just working out everything and the time because my dad's still working. And so that takes up a lot of time and just, figuring it out still. But I think we could do a few hundred for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're already at 800, so.
Right. We'll see.
Who knows? Yeah. Bob Binney says bees are like rabbits. They just keep multiplying.
Mm-hmm. They do, though.
That is a true story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always weird how that happens, Yeah. You look out in the yard and there's 4 more.
Yeah. How did that happen? I have no idea, but it did. So, yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about before we close out here? Don't freeze.
I know. I know. I know it's been like. I don't know if it's been a month, but it's been a few weeks since I've posted, but I promise I haven't forgot. We've just been crazy busy, but definitely going to get back into filming YouTube videos for sure. It's just going to take a second. I had like a couple videos prepared, but now it's been like a month or something since I've filmed those. I'm not sure I'm going to post them, but we'll get back into YouTube soon. So.
I think people want to see the video even if it's from a month ago.
Yeah, probably.
I'm always impressed that you're able to do it in so few takes. I
don't know how I do it anymore. Like it's gotten to the point where I'm like, let's quickly film a video. We film it, edit it, and post it. Like I don't know how we do that because I used to have to do it in like 50 takes, edit it, and then be like, is this good? Rewatch it like 3 times. But yeah, I've figured out how to do it now. And I think I don't know how many years it's been. I think it's been a little bit over 3. So it takes time.
2021, right? Or 2020? One of those. I think it was 2020. Yeah.
I think so. So yeah.
Yeah. I think one of your first videos was like called the Bee March or something.
The Bee March. Yeah, it is. That was I don't even know if I talked in that video.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything you got to talk about before you end it?
I want to thank you for coming on, Natalee. It's always fun talking.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I think we talked about it was. I think it was like
Everything.
February 7th when we.
Yeah.
So it was about 6 months ago, and so obviously a lot's happened in the last 6 months.
Yes,
And
definitely.
where can people find you, Natalee?
So you can find me at Beekeeping with Natalee. Somebody did just say it used to be Beekeeping Like a Girl, but it's now Beekeeping with Natalee on YouTube. I've got a website also if you want to check that out. We sell some t-shirts and hats. We're still figuring all of that out, but yeah.
And you got that new Instagram, right? You started that a while ago.
I do have an Instagram, but I don't have Instagram personally, so like it's
Mhm.
kind of like I'm working through like with my sisters and everything.
Gotcha.
We'll get back to the whole Instagram thing soon. It's just a lot right now, so we're figuring it out. But yes, I do have Instagram also.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're going to end it off for tonight. Thanks everyone for coming on. Thank you, Natalee.
Of
We'll
course.
stay on and have a quick word after this, but
All right.
thanks everyone. And I hope you all have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.